Alright, hello, welcome to my advanced Warpless guide. This is going to be super professional. I'm just going to, for the most part, I'm just going to go through the run, talk about some difficult strategies I use and how to do them. So, they're going to range in difficulty, and how much time they save. I'll try to mention each one, although I don't know exactly how much each one saves. So yeah, let's get into this. So first off, of course, I get the checkpoint in 1-1. I do this strat. This is just a duck jump. And if we go frame by frame, we see I hit this block, and then I hit this one with a ground pound. So it's like pretty much right as I hit this block. Technically, like a frame or two later is good. You actually don't even need to hit this this left one. So if you don't hit it, you can actually hit the middle block instead. That can work as well. You can only hit one of the tiles. Doesn't really matter. And then the other thing worth noting, so here I do this little turnaround, which hypothetically would save time, but you can also just like brush up against this this brick right here, and you should still hit the blocks in the correct way every time. So you don't even have to hold left there. You can just like hold right as you start falling. You'll rub up against this, and then you'll hit the note blocks in the correct way to just keep going forward as fast, like just at full speed. So nothing really else to mention here. The next thing, I guess 1-3 quick mention. Nothing too important. Just like this last tailspin, you want to try to time it a little bit. Like, it's a little hard to time when you're mashing, but you want to like kind of come out of the mash and just time it a little bit. That way you can land like right here and jump immediately for the star coin. If you bonk, it's not a big deal. No shame. It just is really satisfying when you do it right. So next we have one tower. So here I do the any percent movement, but as I do it with a leaf. So it's a little bit harder than any percent because you're big, but it's pretty much the same. So here you can see this movement that I do. The main thing is really you just have to have good movement. Your movement doesn't technically matter until you really start this part, I'd say. Like here, I think your movement starts mattering because the blocks above don't actually load until you get here. So it's really just these jumps. You can see I try to be as optimal as possible, get past this, and then I turn around. I think I kind of like tap left for a little bit and then kind of let go of it so I can jump again, and then hold left again like when I jump, and then I can jump again, land here, and then I do the rest of the movement. Of course, that's not as hard. This trick saves probably, I think it's like 2 in-game seconds, so 1.5. Well, actually, I think getting a 476 is actually like pretty tight, if I remember correctly. So it's actually probably more like a little over 1 in-game seconds. Yeah, so that's really all you need to know there. The boss fight's free. Little thing to mention in 1-4, if it'll ever load. Okay, so if you look here, okay, well there I have to grab the star coin, but if you look here, I do this little like tailspin off of the edge, and the reason I do that is because tailspins do weird things in this game. It's what lets you dash fly. So like it doesn't, so like when you tailspin, it doesn't like change your speed doesn't update when it should. So like you get a tiny speed boost from running along this downward slope, and then when you tailspin, you keep that added speed for just like a brief moment while you do the tailspin animation. And then once you're out of the tailspin animation, then it just goes back to normal. So yeah, that's really all there is here in 1.4. Nothing too worth noting in 1A. The only thing I guess is like I hold neutral there. I do the tailspin and hold neutral just so that I don't slide down this pipe here. Like you save a couple frames because of that. So yeah, that's really about it. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. So then we have one castle. So this level, there's actually a couple things. So, you know, of course I try to be optimal here. So there I need to land on the very left edge. If you're too far right and you try not to slow down, you'll just bump into this, which loses a little time. Nothing crazy. So then here, if we look at this, see I do a little turnaround there. And the reason I do that is because it allows me to run on this platform and get P-speed on it. So, you know, if I scroll back here, see I do a little turnaround here, and then I kind of turn back. So I'm not quite at full speed when I reach this platform. And I tailspin the dry bones, and then it allows me to get P-speed. And this allows me, so the normal, the strat before this was to just kind of flutter off of this onto this platform, run here, jump here, and then you'd have to do a little bit of normal flying to reach the start coin. But with this, I can just dash fly up to it. So it's a little faster. And then here I do flutter tech. You just, out of your mashing, instead of letting go of the two buttons, you just hold them, and it lets you flutter while you're in, while you still have P-speed. So that's pretty cool. So a little turnaround there. Turnaround's important. You can technically make it without a turnaround, but it's like, you have to be perfect with everything. And it's just not worth it. Like, it's been done like once or twice. And I've never done it in a run. So it's just not worth it. It would save like a couple frames. Meanwhile, doing it that way saves probably almost a second over the previous strat where you would do a little normal flying. So here, there's these ropes, and if you see, I jump off of these ropes on the first frame, and for whatever reason, this gives you a speed boost. So if I look here, so jump, yeah, and I get this speed boost. Now, this is a frame perfect trick. Oh, thank you, phone. This is a frame perfect trick to get this speed boost and to maintain this speed, because normally you just get the speed boost for like a short period of time, and then as soon as you start fluttering, you return to normal speed. To get this conserved momentum, you just have to hold neutral on your D-pad or circle pad if you use a circle pad for some reason. Nothing crazy there. And then you do the same thing here. So, I mean, this is hard, but like, kind of self-explanatory, I guess. So, yeah, speed boost. I'm at normal speed now. Speed boost, normal speed. And if you go fast enough, you can technically get this third speed boost, but it's really weird. It's really hard not to get hit by this thwomp. Would not recommend it at all. I would just not mess with it. I've done it a couple times. And you can go under the thwomp. It's just, yeah, it's not something I'd recommend messing with. So here, of course, I enter the door as far to the left as I can without actually like overlapping with the side of the door. Otherwise, Mario would walk to the center. So a quick thing here, in the boss fight, also the rope jumps, like both of them together, I believe they save quite a bit of time. Like, I'm pretty sure it's like at least a second, if not more. It's probably about a second, if I had to guess. So anyway, here, of course, I jump on him as far to the left as I can, and then I stand over on the right side. And standing on the right side is actually important, because it actually is a shorter path, because Roy goes here, here, back here, and then spawns again, right? Yeah, and so, and of course I hit him as soon as I possibly can. These are pretty risky hits, but So this is a shorter path because if I was over on the left here, Roy would come this way, all the way to the left, all the way back over to the right, and then all the way over to the left again, and then back to here before finally coming out. And going to the right is it's faster because you hit him right here. If you hit Roy over here, it's faster to go to the left. And this is only something that's true of Roy. There's no other boss in the game where you have to stand on one side or the other. So that's interesting. Not really much else to mention there. Actually, there is one other thing. I forgot about this. So I don't know if I do it in this run. Let me see. Oh, I do. Okay, so ground pounding there it's a little precise. You have to ground pound right at the perfect time. It is a couple frames faster to ground pound than to just let yourself fall down when you grab the key. So it's only a couple frames. So the Roy strat is actually like about 2 seconds. So very worth it. Standing on the right side, and it's very easy. But the key strat is only like 2 seconds. Or sorry, like 2 or 3 frames, I think. Maybe a little more than that. But still, you're dealing with frames in that case. So there's nothing really interesting in 2-1. So here I do what's called Goomba bounce. So here I do a full jump, and I start mashing. So full jump and I start mashing. And then I kind of delay the last mash before I finally, I do just for a brief instant, I just normal fly, and I actually missed it there. So there I started doing normal flying a little early. But the goal is to bounce off the Goomba. Right here, you want to bounce off this Goomba. So I did normal flying a little early, but if you bounce off the Goomba in the right way, then you grab the star coin, and you can just, you don't really slow down very much at all. But here you see I actually have to fly up to it, do some normal flying up to it, which is a little slow. It loses probably about 0.35 seconds, nothing too significant, but I did miss it here. So you can see, okay, so, you can see here, to my goal, I actually lost quite a bit, 0.5. I think on average it saves about 0.3 or 0.4. But yeah. So now we have 2A. And 2A, okay, so I bonked there, that was unintentional. Right here at the beginning. You don't want to bonk there, obviously. But then here, okay, so this isn't completely optimal what I just did, but I should do it here. Oh, I actually don't. Oh, there we go. So there you see I'm jumping. First off, I try to jump on the very edge of each platform and then jump off on the very edge. But when I jump off, I do another tailspin because once again, just like in 1-4, it gives me a speed boost. Only this time it's a little bigger. But you really want to jump off on the edge. So I don't do it on every platform here. I could be doing it on more. But this is kind of a hard level to optimize because you need to jump off at the last second of each one. And each one only saves a couple frames. So it's not really that important, but you can save time like that. So yeah, I lost time to my PB in that level. So it wasn't a very optimal 2A, but it kind of shows the concept. So here, there's one of the hardest strats. Well, it's up there, at least. This is 2 tower cycle. This strat saves 3 seconds. So, it's technically not required for record, but this is one of the strats that saves the most time. That's really hard. So here it is. I just barely make it under these. Now, you have to be pretty fast for the entire level. Just copy this movement. However, you don't actually have to be perfect. You just have to be fast enough to make this cycle. So you can see here, I wait for a moment and then I go through this. And so I was fast enough that I was able to make this. So you have to be about as fast as this. You can be a little bit slower, but this was good enough. And then, I instantly go through this. And then this movement right here is what really matters. You have to be really good with that movement. It doesn't have to be frame perfect, but it has to be quite good to make this cycle. And then I go in the door. So just one more time. That's really just a movement trick. Tail spinning those Galoombas is also important. Not much more to say about that. So the boss fight's pretty self-explanatory. Here, I just kind of go over that into the door. And then of course you would just want to look right for this level. You get the star coin there, just the first star coin. So there is one strat you can do here that I didn't do, and that is you tail swipe off the edge. Because another property of tail swiping that I figured out is that if you tail swipe when falling down, or like if you tail swipe right before you fall off a ledge, you actually like start falling down at full speed, like right away, which is really interesting. But you can just tail swipe off this ledge to get down here fast, like as fast as you can, and then you can just, and then you just want to instantly jump up, of course. Yeah, so that would only save you like frames at most. It's really, really not a big deal. You want to jump off that vine, of course, and then you go to the end. Okay, so then there's not really anything to explain in 2B, but 2 castle, we actually do have something. So here we run forward. You can't really see it here because I dropped some frames, it looks like, but I duck. So here, the whole point of this duck is you duck and then you let go before you get on this moving platform. So you like let go in midair. And what this does is it allows you to double jump. Normally I'd get a single jump here. And single jump is still fine, because if you get a single jump, you'll just like do another jump here and you'll keep holding A. And see how this platform rotates? You'll bonk here and you'll lose like half a second to a second. But with this triple jump, I actually get up here and I don't even have to slow down. So here's what it looks like. So you see there, I didn't have to slow down. And that is really good. It's faster, of course. And then of course here, there's a somewhat precise jump. It's kind of something you have to get used to. You can do a turnaround here. Turnaround barely loses anything. You see I like landed on the very edge and jumped. I didn't do a turnaround. You can do a turnaround. It loses a couple frames, but it's much, much easier not to bonk if you do a turnaround. So then you just want to jump across this. This part is pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, you just go along this. Not much to explain here, but in the boss fight, there's actually a lot of interesting stuff going on. So first off, this is the movement I do to get to the first hit. You can see it right here. Okay, so that's what I do. But what you can do instead is, instead of jumping on this platform, you can run forward, jump on this platform, and do a duck jump to hit him. The reason I don't do it is because, well, I have terrible consistency with it. Like, I've barely ever got it. It barely saves anything. And it's very, very easy to get hit doing it. I believe Nanasi might do it. That's the only person I can think of who I think might do it. Jay, maybe? I don't think so, though. I could be wrong. But I don't do it. It's one of the few strats in the run I don't do. It barely saves anything. So, of course, then I just jump on Iggy's head. Wait for this. There's nothing going on here. So then there's something a little interesting here. Something a lot of people don't know. I ground pound here. That makes it so that, like, sometimes his hitbox is a little finicky. And it's like, sometimes you'll just get hit. But if you ground pound, you'll never get hit. You'll never get hit as long as you don't hit the chomp. As long as you hit Iggy and only Iggy, you'll always land the hit and won't get hit. So, of course, I want it to be as optimal as possible, so I cut it really close. And then I hit Iggy like first frame. But My recommendation is always ground pound here, even if you don't cut it as close as me, because you'll never get hit. You'll never ever get hit, as long as you avoid the chomp. So then here, you can see I run along the ground, and I wait for Iggy to come out. So here there's actually a little bit of RNG. It's a little easier if Iggy comes out either of the sides, but you see Iggy's coming down the middle, so that's a little harder. So what I'm going to do here is I want to hit Iggy as soon as possible, of course, and then I come back here, and then I go off screen and get the key. So pretty much the strat you do here is you want to just, what you see is I kind of jump like for the most part straight up, like I'm like right here and I jump like pretty much straight up. I'm like right here, okay. Doesn't matter too much. As long, you probably don't want to be like in towards the center, but you just want to be like right here. Jump quickly, and then you want to hold forward, or you want to hold like towards the center, and this will grab you the key. So a couple things to note: you always want to go onto this higher platform every time, because if you fall down to these lower two or down to the floor, it's much slower to grab it off screen. We used to not grab it off screen. We used to just, well, we used to not fly off screen to get it. We used to jump for it. This is a little faster, like less than half a second faster, but it's not that hard. You just want to jump up and then hold forward like right as soon as Mario goes off screen. If you fly past it, like if you fly and you don't grab the key, that means that you were too early flying, like unless something, like I've never seen someone go too late. And then if you don't fall, or if you fall down like either all the way or down here, it means that you didn't have enough speed. And just full flying speed like should be enough. You don't even have to dash fly. So yeah, so if you didn't have enough speed, it means you should start further back and jump earlier. Like if you grab the key and fall down, it means you should start further back and jump earlier. Anything else? You could, or like if you were letting go of towards the center for whatever reason, don't do that, because that can cause you to fall down here. So that's really about it. You always want to land up top. Either one of these is fine. It's a little bit harder in the center because just getting into position is a little harder. With here, you can just kind of get over here. Or is that true? That might be wrong. I don't remember which one's easier. I'm a little confused because strats have changed. I know at one point the edges were easier. That might not be true anymore. Either way, you can still do this strat without losing any time. You just kind of have to get in position after the hit, like this. I get in position and then I just go for it. And I grab the key. So yeah, that's really all there is here. So now it's time to talk about 3-1. This is a very important level for me because I do a strat that you really can't even tell is going on to save time. So here, if you look, I'm actually trying to kill a lot of cheeps. That tailspin is also kind of tricky. It's kind of something you have to time correctly. But yeah, okay, so like here I'm trying to kill a lot of cheeps. And the reason for that is because I want to get as many coins as possible, because I want to get as many points as possible. And this is a really easy way to do it with losing essentially no time. And the reason I want to do that, I'm actually going to skip ahead in the run. So the sole reason I do this is after 4B, here we can look. So right now you can see I have 794,760 points. The goal is to get above 800,000 before you start 4 castle, before you start 4 castle. So you can see I leave this level with 812,000. That's completely good. It's over 800,000, and it's mainly because I killed those cheeps. I also, like, you know, will grab star coins and auto scrollers if it doesn't lose me time. You don't have to, but I mean, you know, that's what I'd recommend. You just want to find ways to get a lot of points. But actually, this is something I need to mention. In World 1, you actually want to minimize the amount of points you can get. Because if you get too many points, the coin block will spawn after 1A, and that is, you don't want that, because that's just an extra cutscene. Because the way the coin block works is that it gives you an extra cutscene at the beginning of every world that it's there, and every time that it spawns as well. So if the coin block spawns after 1A, you get the cutscene at 1A, and then you get the cutscene after you beat one castle once you enter World 2. However, if you get it after 2A, or sorry, if you get it after one castle, then you only get the cutscene in 2-1. So that just saves like a second. And then the same thing is true here. So the goal is, in 4 castle, I grab the coin block, right? And so by getting 800,000 points, I can delay its respawn until World 6. And that way I don't get a cutscene in 5-1. Because if the coin block came back after, or like if the coin block came back in 5-1, or after 4 castle really, I would get the cutscene in 5-1, and then I'd get the cutscene again in 6-1. But instead, I get the coin block cutscene in 6 Ghost House, or I think it's like after 6-1, and that's the only time I get it. So that just saved a second, right there. It can mess up your splits a little bit depending on where the coin block spawns, but as long as the coin block doesn't spawn until you get past 5 castle, then it doesn't lose time. It'll just shift around where the time is, if that makes sense. So, yeah, so do keep in mind the World 1 thing. Minimize your points in World 1, and then after that, you want to go out of your way to grab star coins and like just points in general. It's not super strict. As you can see, I was doing it, and I have 12,000 points to spare. The only thing that really matters is 3-1. You want to kill all these cheaps. You can see here in 3-1. Let's see how many coins I had by the end. I had 471 coins, and each coin is 100 points. So that's 47,000 points. So that's a lot of points. You don't have to kill exactly as many as I killed, but the more you kill, the better. So I just recommend follow my route, try to kill that many. If you miss one, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And just be aware of your point count. You want to be above 800,000 before you enter 4 castle. If you get it within 4 castle, then it will give you the coin block again in 5-1, or before 5-1. So anyway, the other thing to talk about is this star grab, both the star grabs really. So you can see here, I jump off this cheap, and then I just kind of just do a small jump off of it and flutter, and then kind of turn around and grab it. So if we go frame by frame here, you can see I land, I turn around, I jump, hit the star block. I'm still kind of traveling to the right, and then I bounce off the cheap, and I go, and I'm holding left here, and this way I can grab the star, and then I'm immediately holding right. And then here I have to flutter a little bit. You can get a jump there, and you can avoid the flutter, saves a couple frames. But, you know, since I didn't get the jump, I do the flutter, and then here we go. I'm off with the star, and I kill all these cheaps. I grab that star coin, of course. And then here, you can see I do a turnaround there, I jump, and then I tailspin right there. So I'm a little below the block when I tailspin. It's not, well, it is kind of precise. The important thing is like really like it's just about the timing of the tailspin, and making sure that you actually brush up against it. Because if you don't brush up against it, you won't actually hit the coin block with a tailspin. And this gives you another star, of course, and then you can run to the end. And I kill a couple more cheeps. You do a pipe jump at the end, of course. And you just get the flag. So 3A, not much to mention here. I get the star coin, as you can see. It's not required. I didn't need to get it. It's just to boost my points. Because, I mean, I don't actually like calculate like, oh, I have this many points at the end of 3-1. I need to get this many star coins. I just get them because I can. It doesn't lose time. And I know I'll be fine. So then there's this tailspin on the urchin. And you can see, kind of just mash the swim button. And then I time the tailspin. I guess a lot of people try to tailspin, like, you know, they like try to start their tailspin like here when they're right next to it. You want to tailspin a little further away, because it takes a couple frames for the tailspin to get there, or like for the tailspin to really start. So, you know, not like here or anything, but like, you know, you can see I tailspin right here. So I'm like still kind of a tile away from the urchin. Then I mash through, go up, down, and here. Okay, nothing else much on the pipe. One thing to note about pipes that I actually haven't said is if you're going at full running speed, you want to enter the middle of a pipe. However, if it's normal swimming speed or like in an auto scroller, you want to enter on the side. And then I believe, this section is just optimization. I delay my swim just a tiny bit here while holding right. But I believe that at the end, I enter the pipe in the middle, correct? Yeah, so you'll see I didn't actually enter the pipe until I was at the middle of it. So I enter it like right there. If you try to enter like right here, you can do it, but it loses a couple frames. It's like 5 frames at most. Like up to 5 frames depending on how far to the left or right you are. You want to be in the center. The same is not true of doors though. In doors, you actually want to be as far, like you want to enter it as far to the left usually, or if you're coming at it from the right, then as far to the right as you can, without having the little animation play that has Mario just kind of side walk to the center. So 3 tower, there's a little jump at the beginning here, jump, and lets me get in the pipe optimally. This is just an auto scroller for the most part. The only thing worth mentioning, well, 2 things. First, I get this coin block here. The reason I do this is because I can use it in the fight to, it allows me to like avoid RNG. It's possible for one of the Resnors to shoot you with a fireball, and there's nothing you can do about it except take the hit. So I get the coin block, and that way it doesn't matter. Like I'll just lose my coin block, and that doesn't matter. The same is true of 2 tower, but you can't really do anything about it. So that's like it's fairly rare to see that shot from the Resnor, so it's not like a huge reset point or anything. But it does happen, and it sucks. You just get hit, and it's not really a reset point unless you're top level. Like in this category, where getting hit is like a huge deal. So here, there's this other like kind of strat that J-Dude found. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a shot in the dark. So as you can see, I start holding right around here when these coins are about 1 tile away from getting off screen. The goal is you can actually avoid a bonk off screen. I don't really have any more advice than just like try it about when I told you to. Play around with the timing and hope it works. You'll actually get a 367 on the in-game timer, a low one, but you know, it still saves time if you do it right. I don't know how to make it consistent, that's all I can tell you. In the fight, oh, I actually messed up the fight. Okay, so, you know, I'm supposed to tailspin that guy and jump over him, but I messed it up. But fortunately, I had the coin blocks, so it didn't really matter. Like, it did matter because I did lose time. You can see here, I lost some time, but it kept the run alive. So next we have 3-4. The beginning of 3-4, really simple. There's a star coin in the middle of the way I just get it. You don't have to get it, once again. You don't need every star coin. It's just nice to get them for safety purposes. But then here, I used to get a leaf here if I needed one. But, I'd used to delay here as well because you have to do this upcoming strat if you want to be optimal. So I'm just going to play it once. So there I actually bonked. So it was still faster than doing a delay at the beginning, but it wasn't quite optimal. So ideally, it's very easy to die doing this strat, by the way. So just keep that in mind. The main trick to doing this is you want to slide on these crates as much as possible. It's technically possible to do it without sliding a whole bunch on the crates, but it's not worth it. The crates slow you down just enough to get through here. You do a tiny jump, and you do a tiny jump there. These crates' heights are random. If you do the strat right, you shouldn't die every time. I'm not sure if bonking is RNG, or if it's, well, I know that it's definitely harder to bonk if you get bad RNG, but I don't know if it's possible to avoid a bonk on every state, or on every crate state, because these crates can be a little higher sometimes. You can see this crate is a little higher. It can be lower than this, but I missed it and I bonked. It's still faster than doing a delay at the beginning of this section, but it is a little slower. You can see in my PB I actually got this without bonking. The movement is a little bit awkward sometimes. And by my PB, I mean like in my previous PB. So like there, I had to do a little tailspin there. It's not really important. I just threw the Koopa right as I got to the pipe, because you can't carry a Koopa through a pipe. So little pipe jump there. It's not that much harder. It's just you have to do a small jump with the pipe jump and then immediately jump as soon as you land, and you should be fine. So you can see here, I did lose like 0.3 seconds to my PB. It is still faster by barely anything, but it is faster probably by another maybe 0.1, 0.2 than just doing the delay at the beginning. So there's that. You can save that extra half a second if you don't bonk like I did. So that's what caused the time loss there. Next we have 3 Ghost House. So there's kind of a couple crazy things that happen here. So this beginning, you want to land on the left side of this block. You can go frame by frame here. You can see I land on the very left side. If you land, if you jump too early, you land too far to the left, you'll just kind of slide down it for a while. It'll be awkward. You lose maybe like a second for that. But here I get a little speed boost. As you can see, bam. A little faster. It allows you to get a 96 door there, like every time. So then here, this strat, it's like, this strat's really awkward, and honestly, like if you don't do it perfectly, you probably aren't even going to save time with it. The easier strat is to, you should check one of my older PBs because I don't remember it too well, but I know you get P speed here. I believe you just run back to this wall and then run forward, but you might actually have to run forward first and then back. Just like go check like my 47, like even my 4703, I think it should be fine. I don't know exactly when I incorporated this strat. I think it was on the more recent side, but yeah. So then, yeah, this room is much easier with P-speed, but here I have to do this little turnaround jump so I get in this door without being on the edge, and I have to do an optimal jump here, otherwise it doesn't really save time. It's not a strat I'd recommend messing with. It's just like, it's not super hard, but you have to be optimal if you want to save any time. And it is a little on the harder side. So here, just run forward, instant ground pound. Oh, I actually messed that up a little bit. So I shouldn't have canceled this ground pound. I should have just held up and went in the door, like as soon as I landed. But I thought I was a little too far to the left, and I wasn't. So I ended up a little too far to the right, and now you can see this is a slow door entry because Mario has to walk to the side and then go in the door. So I messed that up a little bit. You just want to ground pound immediately, and you can hold left or right in your ground pound, and you just move extremely slowly in one direction or the other, whichever one you hold. And so that's worth it. Or so like you just want to ground pound, like, and if you manage to get a really early ground pound, you can just hold right during your ground pound, and you just adjust a tiny bit in midair. And yeah. So now here I just run, get P speed, of course, enter the door. I messed that up as well, so that's a small time loss. A fairly big time loss actually. But not too important. So this room, there's actually like a really nice setup here. You just run to the right, do a fast turnaround, come here, and just do a full jump off this wall, and then you just do the tiniest left tap. You do a couple left taps so that you kind of, you see I do one left tap, so this way the boo is going to start moving towards me. And then you do a couple more left taps so that your momentum actually decreases. And you only do this until the boo is kind of like in this lower part of the oscillation. Boos kind of go like this. The boo is kind of traveling down as well, so the boo kind of comes down. If you try to like lure the boo over more, the boo's gonna go up. So you want to turn around now, and that way the boo's right there. And then I do a little flutter. It's just holding the jump button. Pretty simple. This is one of the easier tricks that I'm showing. It's just a really nice setup. It actually works out quite well. You just run to the right, fast turnaround, run to the left, do a wall jump, and keep holding jump, and everything just works out. You're at exactly the right height. So then here, I messed that up a little bit, but that didn't really lose very much because I broke both the blocks on my first jump. So then I come in this door, run to the end, and so yeah, earlier parts of this level were really sloppy, so I actually lost time. You see I lost 1.68, or really like 1.7 to gold. So this can be a lot better, but it still showed off the strats I wanted to show off. So 3 castle, this has some pretty crazy strats as well. So we're gonna enter the level. The first thing is this saw blade strat. You can just do a couple of small turnarounds to wait for the saw blades. A lot of these insane strats, by the way, are, if you want to see like an easier version, you can usually just check out some of my older world records. Most of them I haven't been going for forever. A couple of them I have, but most of them I haven't. So anyway, so I do this strat, I do that little duck jump, do it in an instant double jump, and then I flutter at just the perfect time. Show that again. So, and then instant double again. So this is kind of hard to get down, but once you got it down, it's not too bad. It's just precise movements. Let me play it. So you have this duck jump. It just kind of lets me get past this easily. I don't actually know if it's required, but it would be really hard to do without it. So then I do a double. And then I don't want to flutter immediately. So I want to delay my flutter. And then I start fluttering here, and I just barely make it under the saw. And then I do an instantly double jump again, and then I go forward. So that is fairly hard. That's a pretty hard strat, but it's not the hardest in the run. So then you can see I actually tap left here to make it under this saw. Oh, being a little choppy. So I tap left here. I go a little slower. Just be careful that you don't. Yeah, you can slow down more than me if you want. You don't have to slow down that little, but I would recommend slowing down. I mean, you have to slow down, or else you're gonna run into the wall. Otherwise, you can't make it under. But yeah, just the more you slow down, the easier it'll be, and make sure that you don't accidentally run into the saw blade. It's better to bump against this than it is to run into the saw blade. So anyway, I gain P speed, and I do this movement: wall jump, jump, jump. Not much to say there. I think it's actually faster to jump off of both of these. That could be wrong. I'm not actually sure, but feel free to test it yourself. This movement, it's not like super hard to do. It's just hard to save time with. You have to be fairly fast. So you can check out the old movement I did here if you want. It's a little easier. You can get 482 or 582 on the door. And yeah, it's just not as like demanding of perfection to get a good time. So then we have this section. So here, this is pretty precise. I run forward, jump, and then do a little tailspin there. The important thing is actually I want to be pretty early on this tailspin. So you can see I actually start tailspinning. I'm still in the air. And I run forward like this. This allows me to have the most time running at full speed on the ground and get P speed early. Because if you tailspin late, it's just not gonna work. See, like I jump off the very edge, it barely works. And then here, I want to this is just to get over this. You can also wait for it if you don't want to do this. If you want this to be a little bit more lenient, and still save some time, you can actually, at the start here, you can turn around and run back first before running forward. It is a little slower, not that much slower, and it lets this be more lenient. You'll have more of the P meter filled up by the time you get to the Goomba, and it's still not free, but it is easier. But of course, I'm going for speed, so I don't do that. I just do this. And if you don't get P speed, you can get P speed right here. You'll just flutter off of this platform, and then you can get P speed along this. This is a little longer, and it's really easy to get P speed on it, because you want to fly over all this. So anyway, then you enter the door, of course. Wendy fight, pretty simple. You can't really do anything here. Interesting fact, Jay and I both had the same idea of trying to test using a gold flower here somehow. It's actually not too much slower, but it is a little slower. So, or sorry, not a gold flower, using fire flower. I'm like grabbing a fire flower somewhere and then trying to hit Wendy with fireballs. And maybe you can find a way to make it faster, but as far as I know, it's slower. And so this fight, interesting. So once again, I try to hit Wendy as soon as possible. I use this as my visual cue. I stand in between these two blocks and jump when Wendy's going to be there. So then as soon as Wendy's third hit happens, you can see, like, I start holding forward. I don't do a big jump off of Wendy, just small jump. I run forward and I get P speed. You can watch this. And there's a reason for this. I have this like setup. And I fly as soon as I have P speed. And the time to ground pound is when your P meter goes to 2 arrows. So like right here, I ground pound. You can see. Like I know the timing, like it's a rhythm. So 4, 3, 2, I was counting wrong. 5, 4, 3, 2, and you ground pound right after it hits 2. and you should grab the key. And of course, if you ground pound without the key, it was too early. If you fall without ground pounding, it was too late. Okay, so now we're on to World 4. Not much to mention here. You just wanna get a triple jump there. Triple. Yep, and you're up there. Pretty self-explanatory. So this movement you want to be like optimal. I do this setup. This is actually on uvideo. You just kind of jump right here and you just do this like flying right here. It allows this to just kind of be in the perfect spot. You just kind of optimal right there. I missed that jump. I'm supposed to jump off of that. That's okay though. It's still pretty fast. So I believe my split is like, well, there's a little delay, so it's hard to say exactly. That missed jump didn't lose that much time. So World 4 is kind of where I play horribly in my PB. This level's free. There's not much to talk about, but I messed it up because I'm trash. You're supposed to get a 315 here. I get a 313. It's a high one, but like still, I lost about a second here. Yeah. So, not good. But anyway, so 4B, there's not too much to mention here. This is the level where you would get, or where you want to have 800,000 points, because that saves a second. Video quality is not the best here. You want to slide down these slopes, of course, and then let go of slide, you know, when you're all the way down them. There's really not much to mention here. The movement here is pretty easy. Just a pipe jump here, and then you grab the flagpole. Okay, so for castle, first thing you want to grab this coin block. It's just faster. You grab the coin block because you want to hit this. Right here. You hit this fire bar. It's just a damage boost. It's faster to do that. Plus, you also don't get the coin block cutscene in World 5. So it saves time within the level, and it also saves time on the overworld. So then here, I just kind of know my timing. I just wait here for a moment, and then I jump. So this jump was a little late, but it's very consistent for me. It's like, it's fine. So you can go around the right side of the block, but it's faster to go around the left side like this. And you see I don't want to bonk as well. So this way I have a little momentum. And then this jump can be a little hard because you want to instantly jump as soon as you hit the ground. It's not super, super hard. It's just, if you have momentum, it's a little harder to make that jump. But it is a little bit faster because I'm going a little faster right off the bat. So then this movement is pretty easy. Nothing going on here. So then here, I actually do a small turn back. I jump off the right side of this pipe with a small turn back because otherwise you'll bonk here. So you might be able to see it. Small turn back, right now. Yeah, right there, right as I jump off. So then, yeah. So then you take damage here, of course. You know that's fast if you get a 571 in game time. That means it's really fast. But that's not that important. So then the boss fight. The boss fight is a little bit tricky to do optimally because there's another key grab strat. So the first thing is, of course, you hit the boss optimally. You want to do this jump. You just kind of have to know the timing right there. You just do a full jump with no flutter, and you should always hit him. So then here, right after he starts moving, I jump. I do a full jump, and then I wall jump. Do a full jump and a full wall jump over here, And this way I can get P speed in this room, and then it kind of lines me up for this hit. I just kind of know the timing on this hit. You want to be as fast as you can. So here I'm also going to grab the key off screen. This one actually saves more time than the 1 and 2 castle because the roof is further off screen. So this one is also a little harder. So basically what you have to do here, it's kind of like Mushroom B from any percent, getting in that pipe, only you have like this little space right here to determine like if you need to move left or right. So if I like go back to where I jump, so you can see here, I jump and I see, oh, okay, I jumped a little, my position was a little to the right, and Mario kind of was going off in a little bit to the right? It was not a straight up jump. A straight up jump would have been like right here. You can see the kind of trajectory. It's very slightly right. And so what I do off screen is I tap left just a couple times. Like very, very brief left taps. You just kind of have to get a feeling for it. That way I grab the key. It does take a little bit for the key to fall, so as you can see, I'm kind of off screen for a little while. And I don't actually grab the key until my P meter goes, see, from this state to this state. And technically a ground pound might be faster here, but I don't do one. I just fall down. Like that. So you can see where my position was when I grabbed the key. It was like pretty much dead center. You don't have to be completely dead center, but you do have to be pretty close, within the range of one Mario, I guess. So that's how you do that strat. It's really just a feeling thing. If you jump up straight in the center with a straight up trajectory, I mean, it's like you don't have to do anything. But one thing you can do in practice is when the key appears on screen, you can ground pound, or just fall straight down and see where you were. And that way you can tell like, oh, okay, this time I went a little too far to the left or a little too far to the right, whatever it is, and you can see. Or if you land on the key, you can also see like, oh, okay, I was not touching the key when it was off screen at that position. I would actually recommend just falling straight down because it actually tells you what your momentum is as well as like where you were. Instead of the ground pound, because the ground pound only tells you where you were, it doesn't tell you how you were moving in the air. So that's just kind of how I got like a feel for it. Every time I failed it, I would just drop down and I would be like, oh, okay, I was a little too far off on this direction. So anyway, I'm going to move on to World 5. And World 5, I also have a time loss right at the beginning. So you might be wondering, like, okay, this seems like a rookie mistake. What's going on here? Well, to do that, we have to back up. So if we look at the beginning, if you look closely, I actually twirl right there. And the reason is because I was actually walking for like the first little bit of the level. So it's a music cue for when you twirl. You just listen. Like when I actually don't know when I do it in this run. Here I can actually, let me unmute so I can hear it. This is like the only music cue I used in the whole run. So the cue, the safe cue is on the first ba, so it would be like, I'll just say twirl when you need to twirl, or when the safe cue would be twirl. On that like ba, you would twirl. I do it a little earlier because you don't actually need to go that late, so I can save a couple frames by twirling a little early. If you want to play it risky, you can do that. So the whole point of this is that here you can get P speed. So what you want to do is you want to land right here, and you want to do a little twirl. That way you hit the Koopa, but also you start falling onto the platform sooner, like I talked about earlier. For some reason, if you fall off a platform, which in this case is this little circle end of the rope, if you fall off that while in twirling state, you just fall at like full speed. So that's the whole point here. So if you look here, you also want to jump off these ropes as soon as possible. Like you don't want to stay on them for a while. So you can see there I twirl immediately. So my mistake here was that I jumped too early. You need to jump at the very end, and I just jumped like a frame or two too early. And what this does is you would normally get P speed, and if you have P speed, you can actually fly up to the vine up here, because you want to go up here. So you would dash fly up here and trigger this vine. And it's a little faster because here you can see I have to like turn around and then jump up into it, but you can just hit it while flying. So that's a little faster if you want to do that. It's one of the newest strats, at least at the time of when this run was done. And it's fairly challenging, but it's not the worst. But I was not very great at it when I did this run. But anyway, so here I jump off the vine, of course. One thing worth mentioning about vines, well, you wanna jump off of them as soon as possible. Just don't jump off of them on the first frame. Every other frame is good. Like second frame is optimal. First frame, you just don't have your momentum because you want to be holding right. You don't have that rightward momentum, so you don't want to jump on the first frame, but second frame is good. That's true of any time when you're like running and then you want to immediately jump, unless for some reason you don't want to have, like, you don't want to be accelerating at max speed. If you don't want to be accelerating at max speed, then I guess first frame, but like I can't think of any point where you'd want to do that in this run. So here, I flutter off of this, off of that note block, of course, or not note block, just brick block, which is of course just me pressing jump right after I fall off it. And that lines me up perfectly here. Just lines me up perfectly to just do that perfectly, and then I can just do that and hit the vine. Jump off as soon as possible. And then here, if you've done this movement all correctly, it lines you up perfectly for this. For that jump. It can be a little awkward if you do the movement wrong. Because then the cycles can be a little different. You just kind of have to adjust. Sometimes you might want to even play it safe by going a different way around the circle. But that's the optimal strat. It's cycle based, so you want to be fast. So next, this is a pretty hard level. So the first thing I do here, let me get my mouse out of the way. The way that I kill this is, the way I kill it and still keep P speed is you want to jump and then immediately twirl. If you twirl first, it doesn't work. You'll lose your P speed. You'll still kill it, but you will lose your P speed. And if you get hit, that most likely means that you twirled too late. So yeah, if you lose your P speed, then you twirled before you jumped. And if you get hit, it either means you twirled way too early, or it means more likely that you just twirled too late. So we can watch it again really quick. I jump like really soon after I get P speed. So then we come to the next part here. You just jump over these. So here I do a little bit of normal flying. So after I do a full jump, and then I do 3 kind of delayed dash flying twirls, I guess. I don't really know what to call them. So that's the third one, and I'm like right up here, and then I normal fly. So that's what that is. And to do that, instead of doing a twirl on the next one, like instead of doing a little tailspin along with flying, I just hold fly. Right, so like just the jump button. And I line this up perfectly to wall jump here. Now, the important thing here is you need to wall jump far down. If you wall jump, like if I had waited another like frame or two to wall jump, it wouldn't have let me because I would have been right above this platform. And the game doesn't let you wall jump if you're right above, like if you're like less than a block above a platform. So that's the important thing. You want to be a little farther down. I did it pretty late, but it still worked. So you basically have to have a perfect turnaround. So you can see that I actually tailspin, and that's because I wasn't holding run to do this. I was just focusing on my other inputs. It doesn't really matter. So then I started holding run again. I jump here, and if you're fast enough with all of this, you actually make it to this before the stairs come up. And here, you just want to dash fly into this. You can fly up it too, and it's a little slower. But if you dash fly up it, you go up this really fast. Then you go in the door. So you can see here, I actually went in the door a little late, but it doesn't matter. It only lost me like the frame. I may have lost a frame there. It doesn't really matter though. So that's fine. Now this room is cycle based as well. I believe it's based off of the last room. Here it's the same concept as it was in One Castle. You want to jump off of them first frame. However, I actually don't do boosts. Like I don't do neutral boosts here. At least not on... I only do it on the last one, I believe. Yeah. So I do it for a little bit there. I could have done it for a little longer, but I let go of it. So there was 1, 2... if they're traveling with you instead of against you, it's actually not frame perfect. It doesn't boost you, but it won't slow you down. So you can see here, I jump off first frame, I get a small boost, and I'm not holding neutral, and I don't try to flutter. So I don't really get like a conservation, and that's because I want this platform to move. Because if I were to try to jump all the way over to here and jump off this, it's really finicky if you get hit by these guys or not. And like you pretty much always do. So there may be a strat to conserve your momentum a little longer to save a couple frames, but like I've messed with it and I've been able to conserve my momentum, of course, but like it's just not worth it because these guys will pretty much always hit me. But if that platform's tilted and the jump is a little further along, they're not a problem. So then here, I actually don't get a frame perfect jump. See, I'm on there for like 2 frames, and that's fine because the swing is traveling with me, so it doesn't matter. It's not going to slow me down when I jump off. And then finally, the last one. It should be a frame perfect jump again. Yeah. Now, if you get like a second frame jump, I'm not actually sure, but I believe it doesn't actually slow you down. It doesn't boost you, but it doesn't slow you down. I could be wrong about that, but I know that sometimes I've gotten one where it doesn't slow me down. So take that how you will. So anyway, small boost, and then I start holding forward again, and like I release the boost. So you can see like small boost, and then I stop doing it. So then here I do a triple here, and I immediately just do a small left tap. This is an important thing to be able to do. It's just the tiniest of left taps as soon as I leave the ground. This way I don't really lose any momentum. You don't want to lose momentum here. You just want to turn around. So it's just the smallest of left taps. And then you can see here when I start holding right again, it's like right as I hit the switch. So if you just triple jump right where I triple jump and just do a small left tap, like triple jump right there, small left tap. If your left tap was small enough, you should be able to make it to the switch without like turning back around or anything, right? You can just jump, hold jump and flutter, and like, so it's a left tap and then I hold neutral, right? Because I don't want to turn back around until I get to the switch, and then I start holding right again. And so left, and then I hold right, and that whole time I'm holding jump because that allows me to just flutter, and I don't jump again here because I'm holding it, not pressing it, and then I just flutter off to the door, and this boost should be in the correct spot. So if you land to the left of the switch, it probably means that you held left for too long, like here. I'm pretty sure that's the only way it could happen. It might be able to happen if you were too far left, but I don't think so. I think it just means that you held left for too long and you lost momentum. And then of course you hold right again. And you do want to hold right before you get to the switch. So like a couple frames before. So like not here, but now here the boo is high enough. So you can do it now if you want. I wait another frame or two. Yeah, I wait a couple more frames. Doesn't matter. As long as you do it before you get to the switch, that's good. And then I can enter the door. So then this jump, it's just a duck jump here, full jump, and a flutter until I get to this. And then, just climb up a little bit, jump off, and I just hold jump and flutter. And you just barely make it and do a double jump. Well, it's not even a double jump because I don't have enough momentum. But that's how you do this level. As far as I know, the optimal in-game time is 3:64. I've never done better than that. Although it has been a year, so who knows. But anyway, the next level, 3A, there's really not much to mention. You can just duck in this spot, like at the right corner, right where I am. You can just stand here and duck. The only thing that you have to avoid is this enemy, this one paratrooper, and then after that, there's nothing, right? Like you can just stand up the whole time and just stand here, and you'll be fine. So if you want an easy spot, that's where it is. And then, the other thing, you just want to be optimal here. So you want to go under, hit that as soon as you can, and you can see I turn around and immediately jump off. Right, so I come around and immediately jump off, and then hold up. That's all I do is just hold up here. I grab the vine, and then I'm far enough off screen to make it work. And then here, you just want to do a tiny jump. Right there, that's quite easy. And that's it. Okay, and then for 5 Castle. So 5 Castle also has some kind of wacky strats. Lots of levels, all of the World 5 levels have some interesting stuff in them, except for 5A, that's still a boring level. So there's not much in this part of the level. Pretty self-explanatory, just good movements. So I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. So this is the part. So here, what I do to make this work is I just kind of, I'm aiming to be like up high, and I want to like hit like right up here. So you can see, like I'm aiming for like the stem pretty much, and you can see like I almost went too high, but I didn't. And that's what I'm aiming for. And then you just want to mash. You just want to mash these dash flying, like really fast and consistent. It's a consistent but fast mash. So the most important thing is consistent for this mash. So like 1, 2, 3, right? I don't know everything about this trick, like what makes it work, but my guess is that when the piranha plant's in the animation of being hit, it can't hit you. I don't know that for sure, but I think that is what's going on. So the consistent mash is the most important, because if you're doing a fast mash, but you drop a mash, then there's going to be a point where the Piranha Plant can hit you because you dropped a mash. So anyway, then you just get in the door. You can technically get a 560 here, but like, don't bother, it doesn't really matter. So here I do a damage boost because it's faster than going in the pipe. So yeah, damage boost here. Set the wall jumps up just the right way so that I can get up here. And now here's the important thing, this jump. So I jump, yeah, if you see, I walk forward for a couple frames before I jump. If you jump on the first frame, it doesn't work because you're just gonna have no momentum. So that's what you want to do. You want to walk forward for just a couple frames and then ground pound right before he reaches you. And you're gonna get hit. And there's been one time where I actually did it in practice without getting hit. And I have never replicated it. But I believe the important things for this trick is you want to ground pound at the very peak of your jump. If you ground pound too early or too late, it's not going to work. So you can see, like, he comes down to you, pretty much. So, like, pretty much just the peak of your jump, you jump and ground pound. Or yeah, at the peak of your jump, you ground pound. And then you equip the leaf. Now, one really interesting thing about this fight is that you want to ground pound Ludwig on the first and second hits, because for some reason, excuse me, for some reason, Ludwig is just, if you ground pound him, the next hit you can hit him immediately. So you want to ground pound him on the first hit, and then ground pound him on the second hit as soon as he comes out of his shell, and then ground pound, and then on the third hit it doesn't matter. But the thing is, if you miss oh my god, if you miss ground pounding him on either the first or second hit, you have to know to delay your hit after that, like the next hit, because if you just jump on him, he's like invulnerable until like right before he jumps off screen. Like right before he leaves the ground to jump off screen. And so the old strat was pretty much to just let him jump into you, or to like time your jump so that like you hit him right before he jumped off. But with this, with the ground pound, for some reason it just lets you hit him immediately, and I don't know why, but it does. And so, as you can see, then on this, I have like a little setup here. So the setup is pretty much just run one side, jump over him, run to the other side. And then I do delay the wall kick a little bit on purpose, because if you do everything like completely optimally, it is possible to be like a tiny bit too early, but you just delay it by like a frame or two and you should be completely fine. And that's really all there is to this fight. So next we have 6-1. 6-1 is the same as any percent, blah blah blah. It's a really easy level. For anyone who doesn't know, you want to remain low here. The tricks to making the skip work, you hit this, and then you want to jump here. You want to jump, don't tail swipe, and then you just, you do dash flying until here, and then when this comes on screen, you can just kind of start going off screen. Because this meteor can hit you, and you don't want it to hit you. And if you're off screen, it can hit you. That's really about it. Everything else, I mean, like that's true in any percent as well. But yeah. So now, because I did the coin block manipulation right, the coin block appears here. Instead of it, if I did it wrong, it would have appeared at the beginning of 5-1. Now, of course, there's some variance for when it can appear. It can appear after the ghost house. That happens sometimes if you don't have enough points. It doesn't lose time, it just messes up my splits. That's really about it. So my PB or my previous PB had 4 seconds lost here, but whatever. This level is just the same as any percent. I'm gonna explain it real quick. Of course, I do lose time because of the coin block in my splits. That's why it's slower than any percent. So this trick, you wanna jump and do a little dash fly here, and I'm running along this. Now here I jump, and once again I need to do the smallest of left taps, and it's like a full jump, but I don't want to fly, right? So smallest of left taps. Okay, so here I messed up. I was trying to jump as soon as I landed on the ground, but I started flying instead, so I messed up the strat. Normally you're supposed to jump, land on the ground, hit this block, I believe, and then you land on the ground again and jump again immediately. And make sure you don't clip the edge of this block, and then, or like make sure you don't hit this block on accident. And it's just, excuse me, it's really fast, and yeah, you basically be going at full speed while facing left. You're just holding neutral after the initial left tap, so you're just neutral right here. I had to turn back around because I messed up some stuff. The main thing is you just want that Buddha move off the switch. That's why you do it. Then you'd hold right, like here. Yeah. It's whatever. So most of this is just identical to any percent at this point. The only exception is you have to do Bowser jump. So this is all the same. I should explain this setup actually because it's fairly tricky and a lot of people don't know it. So first you wall jump up this wall, okay? Then you want to jump on this switch. You want to jump on the left side of it, kind of. That way you get like this fast turnaround animation instead of just bumping into the wall. Here I jump up here and I turn around, and then I jump up again. And I want to start getting up against this wall here. Yeah, so I get up against this wall, and now I wait to the peak of my jump, and then what happens, because the wall's moving away from you, it's a little awkward. You're going to bump up against it and start falling down at normal speed. I just keep holding right, and a couple frames later, I meet the wall again and start sliding, and that's when I can wall jump. So then I wall jump here, I make it up to this platform here. The thing is, you have to wall jump like right away as soon as you land, like as soon as you're able to here. So it's like later than you'd be used to because you bump into the wall first as it's moving away from you. But then you have to wall jump as soon as you actually can on that wall, which will get you up here. And then you want to run forward for a couple frames. So you'd get up here and you'd run forward for like a couple frames. And then right before you reach this wall, you jump again. And that gives you a little bit of a higher jump. And then at the peak of this jump, you wall jump. And then you have to have like good wall jumps up the wall, and you make it up there. Yeah, so that's how it works in both Warpless and any percent. So that's really all there is to that. So 6A, same as any percent as well. Yeah, like 6 castle is the only one that's different. So, of course, you just run through the level, jump here, turn around, 3 wall jumps, and you get the star. And then here, of course, with this wall jump, you want to be like optimal. Yeah, you want to land on this coin block quickly, because if you land on it too slowly, then you won't make the jump up there, and you want to jump off of it as soon as possible as well. You keep going. You know, everything's same as normal. This is kind of slow movement, but, you know, I was nervous on pace in a 46-minute run, so I think that's pretty acceptable. So here, there's another thing. You want to delay this wall jump. This is true of any percent as well. Everything I say is true of any percent. Here, so I delay the wall jump just a little bit until I kind of start slowing down my vertical speed. And what this does is it lines me up perfectly to jump off of this platform and then wall jump off of this burner. It's just like a really good setup for this, and it doesn't lose time. So there's all that, and then you jump off of that, you know. Oh yeah, this actually is something I do. I actually get this leaf just in case I mess up burner clip. I can do the backup movement, which is just the damage boost movement, and that allows me to just go through the level and salvage the run. It does lose a couple frames to pick up that leaf, but I think it's worth it. Missing burner clip loses a second because you have to damage boost and then re-equip the leaf. Of course, burner cycle is really what I mean, because for burner clip, you know, it's not worth, if you get the clip, it's worth just damage boosting. Because, you know, you don't have the gold flower time save, so you just need a damage boost and equip your other leaf. So anyway, yeah, so I actually missed that, but that's okay. It's Warpless. Not a big deal. Jump off of that. I mean, it is a big deal, but it's like, it's not the end of the run. So all this is, of course, the same. You can do the no bonk strat in this level. I don't go for it, I don't think, in Warpless. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I don't. Oh, wow, I actually went for it and I got it. But yeah, that's the no bonk strat. I actually don't remember how to do this strat. It's just been so long. It looks like I tail swipe and then jump immediately after. That might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. That's a strat you should ask Jay about, because it's been way too long since I've tried it. Since this run, I'm pretty sure. Because that's kind of when I moved away from this game. Other than 100% for a little bit. But that's not important. So yeah, that's all the same. So that's great. That's great. And then we have this level. It's actually best to, I don't do it here, but it's best to keep running along this and jump at the very edge. It's a little bit faster because it kills the crow and it lets me, it kills that crow and it lets me run along this upcoming platform. This platform, now I have to kill the crow and jump a little early. See, like, there's just like, I don't know, a fifth of the platform left that I could have run across, but I didn't. Not a big deal though. It's like a frame or two maybe. So this strat's of course the same. You want to run along that platform as much as you can. I gold that for some reason. So this level you can do the whole like tailspin off of the moving down platforms. I don't do it here. It was not a thing in this level at this point. It only saves a couple frames. At most like a quarter of a second. Probably not even, well, maybe it saves a quarter of a second. Yeah, it probably does save like a quarter to a third of a second. But still, it's not something I haven't done and probably something I would implement if I came back. So here, this beginning movement is the same. Here I go for burner cycle and I get it. It's actually very close. I used my reserve leaf there, as you can see, because I thought I was going to get hit, or I thought I might get hit. I don't know exactly what I was thinking, but I thought it was worth using my reserve leaf because I wasn't sure if I was going to get hit or not. Fortunately, I didn't. So actually, missing the clip entirely loses like 1.5, really, I'd say, because you have to get hit twice. If you get the clip, you lose 1 second over getting the cycle. I'm still kind of surprised that worked, but it worked just barely. And I think this actually might be an example of when the burner hits you. Like, I may have gotten hit here. I think I would have gotten hit on this frame or the previous frame if I hadn't jumped. I could be wrong about that. It extends over the course of like 2 frames, and on the first frame, or like on the course of like 3 frames, and on the first frame you can't even like interact with the part that's active. So, okay, I actually messed that up. The whole point of that is you want to time the last one. You can see I delayed the last one a little bit. I didn't delay it long enough though. So I should have delayed it by a couple more frames. I tried to delay it if I could, but I failed a little bit. So the backup, I just ground pound here, cancel the ground pound, and start going again. This is what caused the run to be a 46.17 instead of a 46.16 like the best possible time says. Now here, there's of course the NSMB speed, which is the best name that I've ever come up with for a strat. Basically you just triple jump here and hold neutral. This is how neutral jumping was first like really introduced to the run, and then I was like, whoa, it can actually work on the ropes as well. But that's a very easy application of it. You just do a triple jump on the conveyors. You don't even have to triple jump, but the triple jump gives you more height, so you're doing it for longer. And then before you start fluttering, you just hold neutral. So then the rest of the run, there's not really much to talk about. Yeah, just Bowser jump. I guess the fireballs, I guess I can talk about them really quick. I personally, you know, dash fly, and then I start fluttering for a little bit by using flutter tech, and then I fall down. I time the let go. I time the release of the buttons so that I can just make it easy. I find that timing way easier. It took me like 5 minutes to get used to, and then it was like I'd get through the fireballs every time. Before I knew about flutter tech, I would choke like all the time, and it sucked. But yeah, so I got through that. Very nice. And there's not really much else to talk about. The end of the run, of course, it's actually much easier to do the end with the leaf. Right, as soon as this slash comes on screen, I would say probably right now, I can let go of jump, maybe even a little earlier, and then the screen will start scrolling up, and then after just a brief pause, I just go towards the switch. I do a wall jump. You technically don't have to do a wall jump, it's just a strat I use, and then you hit the switch, and that's time. So yeah, that's my speed run, and that's my advanced guide. That's pretty much everything in the run that's worth talking about. For an advanced player, I will probably make one that's more, thank you, Windows. I will probably make one that's more for like beginners and like learning the basic skips that save like 30 seconds to a minute, because I didn't talk about how to do all of them, or really any of them. But yeah, I think that's nice, and so thank you for watching. Hope this helps with your Warpless speedruns.